All right, good morning, everyone. I hope everyone is well and doing good today. Thank you for joining us for DT Tuesday. Um, and we will go ahead and get the ball started. And I did hit record, so we are recording. So thank you out there. And I want to say special thanks to my visitors for today. And so I will go ahead and start with our special populations gift mission statement. And we are here to equip school systems to increase awareness, promote equitable access, and improve outcomes for all special populations. So really looking at how can we increase our awareness of our teaching programs, really looking at how can we make it equitable across the board for our students in wherever they are being served. And then how are we looking to improve their outcomes? And what does that look like in your district as we go forth and going into this? So today we're really looking at, there's a little GT information out there, but really going and delving more into evaluating your resources for your students and how they're being served in those classrooms, in your buildings and across your districts. And how does that look and what are you doing? And we got a couple that's going to share out on what they're doing. And I want to say thank you for them taking that initial jump and that staff to get out there and to share. And then that is the beauty of our community, is to share that info so that we all can build our programs and get better as we go forward. And then I'm still having an opportunity, if someone else has something to share, that they are willing to share that out also. And then we'll always end with some questions and answers. So hopefully everyone is doing well. This is our wellness check. How you're doing? How's it going out there? I just want to say I've been out of the office for last week, and I'm pretty much most of this week. We've had a series of deaths in the family, and so we've had 2 services, and we're going into our 3rd. So I will be in and out, but I want to say as you know, sometimes you are the sole source for your program, and I am the sole source, and I could not counsel on you. So I'm here, I am doing okay, and I'm with my mom. And so hopefully we will all get together at some point, hopefully see you in, where will I see you? December at TAGT. And then going forth and going out there. Thank you for your support. It's been difficult, and so, but we're doing good. We're a strong knit family, so we're bonding and keeping close. And so just thank you for your prayers. And once again, it's Tuesday. Hopefully everyone is well. Hopefully everyone is doing good in their systems and in their programs, and that your schools are there, your families as well. If not, take a moment, hug, and then for a special thing for my aunt, we had our own little ice cream parties. So have a scoop of ice cream with your family, have a little love. So hopefully school is going well for you as we go into October. Hopefully you get to enjoy the state fair. As I said earlier, I think it started. This is not the weekend to come, because this is Texas OU weekend. So everybody will be here for the game. So if you want to come, I would say come Sunday. But take an opportunity to do something special for yourself. Have a little time for your to just decompress, demove, And so we're going to keep moving. So we know our state definition for gifted and talented education, but remember, we're always looking at those students who performs at or shows the potential. So how are our students looking in these specific areas when we're comparing them to students of their own age, experience, or environment? And I know, especially at this time, a lot of you we're in the month of October, doing your first series of testing, if this is your set testing window. So really, how are you looking at those students? Will they exhibit those high performance capabilities in the intellectual, creative, or artistic, depending on if that's a part of your program design? And then what are you doing to look for capacity? And I really think we need to, I know leadership has been a real difficult one to how do we build that? How do we look for that? How do we test for that? And sometimes it's not necessarily a testing thing, it's just how do we build our skills for leadership. And we will kind of delve into that maybe sometime this year or into next year. And then excels in specific academic fields, especially now at this time when we're really looking at can we accelerate our kids? What can we do to make sure that they're doing well in those academic areas that they are the best in? And then really sometimes thinking out of our own boxes of how do we build our next academic world? So for that is not our typical 4 core. And so really looking at that. And then it goes to our state goal. And so really looking at how are kids demonstrating skills in self-directed learning, thinking, research, communication as evidenced by the development of innovative products and performances. And that kind of really goes back to when we think about the resources and the tools that we're providing our students to do that, does those resources allow for students to demonstrate their skills, to demonstrate their abilities, to demonstrate what they are doing, to be able to develop, to be able to have that great performance. So really looking at how is that being built out there as we go into this, and then really looking at what are our high school students producing? What are those products? How are we making sure that it's professional quality? And if it's the professional quality, is it across the board or is it that profession? Really looking at specifically, let's get into the mindset of really looking at and targeting not just a general overall kind of thing, but really getting deep into, is this the real for if it's English research paper, is it professional quality that could be published in the New York Times or whatever magazine, professional magazine, National Geographic? Where are we looking for our kids to be going to that next step? Or is it, what are we looking for as we go into how we're moving our students out and beyond? So just a reminder, here are the links for our GT Tuesdays. I will also put these on the website, and then the link for if you would like to talk about a topic and then get into that conversation and get into a meeting date that you're willing to share, that we want to put it on your schedule, please sign up. Really going into how we do this and looking at it a little bit differently this year as we go into how we providing, how GT Tuesday is working. So really trying to make it a little bit more accommodating and then making it easier for you to say, I know this is the day that I'm going to talk. This is the day I'm going to share, and this is how we're going to, and what are you sharing? And so it's not flying off the cuff. And so, right. And so we're just going to go ahead and get into it. So evaluating resources for GT students. And when you really look at it, we're talking about the state plan, and we're looking at fidelity of services. And I pulled 3 today, and main one is 1.8. But when you look at the surrounding standards with that, the development and delivery of curriculum for gifted and talented students is monitored regularly. So that's a part of that evaluation. Really, how are we looking at this curriculum? Is it achieving the goal that you intended it to do when you were listening to that pitch, when you were listening to that conversation of this is a good product, and then you're rolling it out in your school district, and now you're looking at it to say, did it live up to all the hype that was given, or is it a dud for your district? And because each district is so different, those are some of the things as we talk about it as we go into it. And then really going into 1.8, district guidelines for evaluation of resources used to serve gifted and talented students are established and used in selecting materials that are appropriate for differentiated learning. So really, are we finding those tools? And that's the question also. Are we finding those tools, or do we need to develop those tools? Are we really needing to look at some other things? And what is the best? What's the best science resource? What is the best, social studies? What are we looking for? And as we're looking at differentiated learning, what are we looking for that is appropriate for a kindergartner compared to a 4th grader? What are those services? And then as we're really trying to get into the differentiated learning, and especially in our AP programs and our IB programs, what does that look like there? How do we get them to really wrap around that yes, your curriculum may be rigorous, but it was not designed for a GT student. It was not about designed for those advanced learners. It was designed for the regular student to get that challenging, rigorous curriculum to move them to the next level and to get them college ready. That's the goal of AP. So when you put using this as a part of our GT services, what are we doing to push our students that are GT in these programs also? So really looking at the next level there. And then that curriculum is modified based on annual evaluation. So how are you looking at your curriculum each year? Are those resources and those tools? Is that a part of your evaluation that you're looking at as we go into the different parts? And so those are just some things to consider. And when you're really thinking about how are you fulfilling and meeting these standards as we go into our programs, into our review, and into looking at materials and looking at how we're spending our funds. Is this worth our money? Is this something that's going? Will it be available in 5 years or 2 years? Is it, the best interest for our program? And so I just wanted to put out, everyone does instructional materials delivery differently. And so for the state, this is what we do for, and if we ever look at a product or look at some of the resources, it's very simple. It is a state review panel that anyone can sign up to be a part of, and they try to be very universal and generic and really look at different populations and going from there. But it depends on who applies. And so they use what they have. But the instructional materials must meet at least 50% of the TEKS. So when you're really thinking about some of these materials, especially in our core content, we're talking 50% of the TEKS, but 100% of the required ELPs in the components. So those are the materials that are being offered to your districts for use. Now, this is not talking about our GT materials that we usually find as a supplemental that we bring in on and above. This is the baseline. I'm starting with the baseline here. So, and then it has to be free from fractal errors, meeting manufacturer specifications, intended for the course and grade level. So it should be on grade level, it should be in the content, and it's been reviewed by these experts. But it's really, when we go back, 50% of the TEKS and 100% of the ELPs. So when you're really looking at that material and saying, does it have that challenge, that rigor? That's what you're doing at the local level, is looking at it at that local level to say, this meets our requirements. And knowing that the state has said, this meets this part, means a lot of districts, or not a lot of publishers, as working with instructional materials adoption, are working towards that 100%, and they want that, but they have to at least meet 50 to get on the list. And so I want to start with our next group. Our next district, and our first district actually, is Lisa Marie Dunn from United ISD. And Lisa is going to, I don't know if she's dropped it yet or not, but drop a link in the chat. And Lisa, do you need screen sharing capabilities?
Yes, we can do screen sharing. Thank you for that.
Right,
I just posted a link in the chat to a PDF document. It is a short document, it's simple, but I will be going over what we have at this time. So hopefully you can see my screen. Thumbs up if you can see my screen.
We can see it. You might want to make it a little bit larger.
Okay, thank you. I will do that. Is that better?
Just one more. And I
Okay.
think we'll be good.
Okay.
Yep.
Yes. All right. So I saw that we needed to put together some guidelines for evaluating resources for gifted and talented. So I started with the state goal for services, which has the first statement there. The resource should help students demonstrate those skills in self-directed learning, thinking, research, and communication as evidenced by the development of innovative products and performances that reflect individuality and creativity and are advanced in relations to students of similar age, experience, or environment. So that was just the basis. There's a lot in that statement. So I felt like that is really what campuses administrators should be looking at when considering purchasing resources for the GT students. And then the rest of them basically come from our local plan, our updated manual, um, just in our objectives. So the second one says the resource should help facilitate learning characterized by greater depth and complexity than the general education curriculum. We use Dr. Sandra Kaplan and Betty Gould's model of depth and complexity. So that was the next one. And then the next one, the resource should help foster creative and or critical thinking. Those are always goals of our program, that we want students to be able to think critically and ask questions and be creative. And then the next one, the resource should encourage intellectual curiosity, of course, just going with their nature as gifted children, gifted and talented children. They tend to be very curious and ask a lot of questions. So we want to make sure that the resources help foster that intellectual curiosity. And then the next one, the resource should help facilitate conceptual understanding. Many of us have had concept-based curriculum and instruction training. And so that, I feel, really helps gifted students who tend to see the big picture, who tend to see the whole forest before the trees. If they have that instruction that is geared toward their conceptual understanding, I feel like that really helps meet their needs. And then the last one, the resource should help provide gifted and talented students with opportunities to exhibit leadership skills. So any kind of resources or programs that they're purchasing to help foster those leadership skills. Sometimes the students will work on community service type related projects. And so that gives them an opportunity to be leaders on their campus and include their peers. They also have situations where they're presenting information to their grade level peers as well. And so that's what we have for right now, as far as our guidelines for evaluating resources. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen. You're welcome. Thank you, Monica.
Thank you, Lisa. So, so thank you once again, Lisa. Great tool, and Lisa has given permission for us to post it, so you will see it on the page with this resource and the presentation and the video link after maybe this week, maybe next week, but yeah, it will be up there. So I just came up with a few questions that, when you're really thinking about, as you know, what are those resources, and looking at materials, and then over, just thinking back on my experience in the classroom, and then really thinking about my opportunities here with the agency, and looking at resources and materials, and then really looking at curriculum, and just knowing that everything is not designed for our students, and are not even considered with our students in the design of either the enrichment, the differentiated instruction pieces, or those extensions, as they would like to call them. So, what are you considering? And so these are just a few things. What are you considering? What are you looking for in your program supports? How do these resources relate to your continuum of services? The few examples when you think of kindergarten materials, and that's really kind of hard for me, because I was never the one who was considering ever in my life to teach kindergartners. I love y'all dearly, but I know I was middle secondary, so that was my goal. And so really looking at that. And then, so what is your standard of quality? What are you really looking at when you look at these materials? Project-based learning project. Yeah. So it is, if you see Mel's question in the Mel Carlin's question in the chat, does anyone use I want to say batches, project-based learning project, and have any data you can share about it efficacy? I know it's extremely popular in our CTE world, and a lot of districts did go that route. Even before I left the school district, they were trying to, how can we integrate PBL and TPSP? Um, Before I left, I know it's kind of changed, so it's been around a while. So if anyone has any data that you can share or want to put out there, please let us know. And we'll always have opportunities to share also. So then also thinking, as I said, looking this last year over curriculum and looking at what is your district's evaluation plan. I know, coming from a department of English language arts going into GT, the worlds were different. Always being on that committee to look at the textbooks, got all these, looking at the kits and looking at all that materials. But then when you're getting to the next GT level, and you're only pulled in when it says it's a GT resource. So really, are you invited to review all materials or only those that are labeled GT? So really thinking about your district process. And what is your review process for your district? Is there a rubric? Is there a grid? What is happening out there? Or is it just come in, take a look, tell us your thoughts? As you look at these materials, as you go into it and build out. And then is there a rubric that considers GT students, or are you looking at differentiation, enrichment, extensions, the rigor of the assignments and assessments? Because, sometimes it's really, I have come to find that's the challenge right there, is these materials are not with that mindset. That is true, Monica. They are not designed. And that has been the hard part. And that has been the hard part to explain to publishers, is that these materials are not meeting those levels for our students. They're coming in saying this is the rigorous part of the curriculum, but when you're thinking about it, so it's really going to the hard, going into, are we needing to build out resources for the other side, for the teachers, to say, this is how you can enhance this curriculum and build this curriculum to meet our student needs. And that's really going into more teacher instruction and how do they set up these things, because the materials are not coming to them in that way. Very good. Replacement task. Okay. One thing that I've been working with our science team is really looking at, because their level of extensions for the Texas Home Learning is to look at how they are building out those other pieces. So Monica, I'm gonna give you a few minutes if you're willing to share. I have one other presenter, and then I will, if you're willing to share, will you share? I see your head shaking. Thank you. All right. So our next one is Ashley, and I want Piera. I hope I said your last name correctly. I'm not sure. But Ashley, do you need sharing capabilities, or are you just going to?
Yeah, if I could have a share ability, that would be great. I'll also pop the link in the chat here.
All right. Thank you.
So you should be able to pull it up. Let me just pull it from here and we'll be good. All right, so there's a link and I'll pull up my screen. Perfect. Is it good or is it too small? More or less, pretty good. Okay. All right. So hi guys, thanks for having me. I'm Ashley Pareda. I live in Connecticut, and the reason I'm here with you guys today is I do a lot of work with TRIO talent search programs in Texas and in other states as well. But what I have created is a STEM career exploration system, and specifically what I'll show you today is a very simple evaluation tool that I put together to assess the effectiveness of your career exploration programs and or a potential career exploration tool. So this is specific to STEM because that's my area of focus, but you could very easily just take the STEM piece away and use it for a straight up career exploration in general evaluation tool as well. So before I go over these three little chunks, I just wanted to preface everything that I'm going to say as I define STEM very broadly. I don't define it as science, technology, engineering, and math. I define STEM as a mindset, as a way of thinking, especially when we're talking about gifted and talented students. We need more creative kids that can do stuff with what they know, especially in the fields of science, technology, engineering, and math. And this is my attempt to try to put all that together and make it usable, because I believe especially GT students are our future STEM leaders, innovators, and problem solvers. And the more we can empower them to find their way in STEM careers, the more powerful and economically viable our country is going to be, and the world will be really, really awesome. So that's the quick preface of why I do what I do and why I think everybody should at least have a little piece of STEM career exploration as part of their GT programs. So the first thing on my list here is that your program and or the tool that you're considering should help students discover the tremendous opportunities in STEM in a fun and easy way, whenever and however they want, without computer algorithms to tell them the answer. That was one of my pet peeves as a teacher, is there's lots of stuff that kids can fill out and it kind of assigns them into their own little box. But what I've realized about working with GT students and just having my own children is the world of STEM is very, very broad. And the more you're aware of how broad it is, the more empowered students will be to make their own decisions and build essential skills in those domains. So for example, I believe fashion designer is a STEM career. There's a ton of math behind cutting the fabrics, materials science behind fashion design. What are you going to make the coolest dress out of? So to me, every career is a STEM career, and the way that we help kids figure that out is showing them the tremendous opportunities. And I have lots of other, I mean, for the purposes of today, I probably don't have time to show you examples of all this, but I'm very willing to jump on a call or anything, discuss more with you if you want to see examples of how I've done these things. So the second bullet would be to stay engaged, whether in person or during distance learning. Always keeping something new, something fresh for students to come back to. What you don't want to do is just do this one thing on STEM careers and then not come back to it. So I vote for something weekly. Maybe it's a new career to explore every week. Maybe it's a theme of the month where you're going to somehow discover science or space or animal careers or computer science. So keeping them engaged is very, very important. What you don't want to do is just these one-off activities, because what I've learned over my own life, which I'm sure many of you could relate to, is your interests change. The more things you're exposed to and become aware of, the more it changes. And that's a good thing. And we have to keep building that awareness, not just a one and done type deal. And then last bullet here is that you can prove that your students are exploring. So something that was hard for me as a teacher, I would use, if any of you are familiar with ONET or Bureau of Labor Statistics, it was great, but I didn't know what my students were doing with it, with those free resources. So having some way to know what your students are doing in terms of STEM career exploration, and equally importantly, knowing what they have been defining as their interests. Because if I knew Juanita was really interested in computer science, especially in a GT environment, I'd be able to support her with free, cool, fun computer science stuff that maybe my program already has. So knowing students' interests was really important to then continue that awareness building piece, but also continuing that career development and talent development piece. Here in Connecticut, I know really nationwide, there's a shortage of STEM workers. So the earlier we can capture that information, that we can prove and know what our students are interested in terms of STEM careers, the better prepared we are as adults to scaffold them and support them, connect them with community resources to help them build towards a future STEM career. So those are my 3 bullet points. Again, it's short and sweet. I don't want to take up your whole meeting, but I'm always willing and happy to chat and answer any questions you guys might have. Yeah, I'll put my email in the chat.
Thank you, Ashley, and great. And thank you. All right. As you see, we are reaching out across the great country. Thank you, Ashley. All right. All right. And so our Monica is coming back to answer the question. So we are at our shout outs and happenings, and this is your turn opportunity to share what's going on in your district. And but at this time, Monica Simons will answer the question from the chat. Monica.
Hi, Monica Simons from Richardson ISD. So we realize that a lot of times the core classroom teachers do not have the capacity, or they don't have the time, or both, to address the needs of our students, especially those who are early finishers, to the rigor of the TEK. And so what we have done is taken the essential TEKs. Right now we're working on just the essential TEKs, and we are creating replacement tasks that are in Google Slides. There's a format for them. They can be pushed out through Google Classroom. There should be little need for the teacher to have to explain things to the student. If the student needs explanation, then they don't need a replacement task. They need to go back and work maybe on what the teacher is providing. Most resources, I put in the chat, I'm the IMA district chair. So that means I am deeply involved in the work of selecting materials, and there's really just not much consideration for gifted because they're just trying to get materials for the majority of students. We also believe that even if a company were to create enrichment, enrichment should be for all. We should all have an enriched learning environment, and extension should be within the unit, and enhancement beyond. Thank you, Dr. Richard Cash. And so we kind of subscribe to that. And so we are making these replacement tasks. We hope to make them exemplars so that later on other teachers can say, well, I made this thing for my kids, and then we can make it for everyone. We can put it out there in our format. The other thing that we are doing is we have a 2-hour-a-week pullout for our level 3 kids. Sorry, I'm in the library of a school because I am subbing in our, it's kind of like a highly gifted class because we don't have a sub. And so I got a break so I could come to the library, but the kids are all waving at me in the library because they're shelving books, and I get really distracted because kids are cute. So pardon me while I squirrel. So the other thing we're doing is we're realizing that our pullout needs to have connections back to the general education classroom. And we have 2 kinds of pullout. We have skills and concepts. And so it's thematic, and but not all of our students received level 3 service where they're pulled out for 2 hours a week. So you've got replacement tasks. We also use ThinkLaw, and we made it asynchronous for our other kids that might be level 2, and the classroom teacher has that available. But for your pullout kids, we have extensions to that pullout lesson, and those are put into Google Classroom every week, and the teacher receives an email every week that says, hey, your kids have this, and hey, we've outlined our lesson and shown you all the depth and complexity by icon, what we're doing in the class. So they have that being drilled into their heads while we're trying to get them to understand it better. So it's one more way we're supporting it. And then the kids, they're early finishers, they go into Google Classroom, and there is an extension to their pullout lesson. That's my summary.
Your summary. Thank you.
All and tied to the TEKs. That's all tied to the TEKs as well.
That is some great work going on there in Richardson. Sounds like a great plan. So hopefully it sparks some ideas for some of you who are looking to build on your classroom resources as you're going developing and trying to meet the needs of our students. And another opportunity for us, we have Paulina Van Eaton Hill with us today. And Paulina, get there. There we go.
Good morning, everyone. Good to see your faces. If I could share my screen, that would be awesome as well. We've got lots going on at TAGT. If I don't know you, I am Paulina Van Eden-Hill, the Executive Director of the Texas Association for the Gifted and Talented. And we are your professional organization, association for all things gifted and talented. So if this is the first time you're hearing about us, please shoot me a chat and we'll get connected. And if you are not a member, shoot me a chat and we'll talk about why. But hopefully you're all a member of your professional organization, and so are your teachers. Our big thing happening, not sure if you've heard, but we have this conference in December. It's called Gift Ed, and we are having it in person and online December 1st through 3rd. We're really, really, really pumped about the way that the programming has come together and being able to be in person in Dallas. And I'm going to just make sure that you all have reviewed and know how to get to our website. So it's tagtconference.org. You'll be able to find in the next couple of days, breakout sessions will be available. But right now, we have our schedules available, our masterminds, which are our keynotes. I'm super excited about all 6 keynotes. So we have 4 actually happening on Wednesday. Just pick your path with these 4 incredible speakers. It's going to be really cool. We're going to start with one big general session where each keynote has about 10 minutes to kind of talk about what they want to talk about. And so there's paths on equity, social emotional learning, student voice, and the future of learning. And then you'll pick which room you want to go hang out with that speaker and learn more about. These are also going to be recorded and live streamed if you're joining us online. And if you're in person and you have to make a really hard choice, the other 3 will be available for you to review when you get home, which is going to be really cool. We also have a slam poet coming on Thursday, which is incredible. As he says, we put a promo video about him on our Facebook page the other day. And so he's really awesome. And then Todd Nesloni is actually at TEPSA elementary school principals, and is going to talk to us about telling your story and advocating for you and your students. So really pumped about that. We also have some really incredible featured sessions. Miss Monica Simons is one of those. She's going to be talking with her superintendent, Dr. Stone, about leading for equity in gifted education. We've got Brian Housen, who I know is a favorite, of course, Andy McNair again, and really, like, I'm super excited about this, combating perceptions in gifted ed. I think that's something we all do daily. And so we'll have actually even more featured sessions coming up. So if you want to join us online, we have, like I said, we'll be live streaming the masterminds, featured sessions, and some breakouts. So you will have content to view live December 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, pretty much all day, like the in-person registrants. And I know that some of you have sent in groups for online reg, and we're really excited about that. I've heard from some of you even that you might host like a little internal conference day and be able to have a kind of all come together in the same room. We're working on some ways that we can help you kind of create that conference atmosphere. I know that getting subs is a challenge, and the travel, and we're not used to paying for getting to and staying at hotels anymore. So we're going to support you in every way that we can in that way. Registration is $375 for members, and that fee does go up in the next 2 weeks. So hopefully you've got your group registration Excel lists ready to go. It is a group package of 25, and you can mix and match online and in person. What else? We did announce some safety guidelines, and we'll continue to update those. We are requiring vaccines to attend, and we'll release more information about kind of how that process works as you register. If you have any questions, please reach out directly to me, Paulina at txgifted.org. And then we'll address like masking and all of that later, but know that your safety is our top priority, and we will ensure that we can have one of the safest environments possible. We know that you guys are out and about and have been for a long time, and want to make sure that we continue that safety first attitude. Also we have summits. So if you're coming in person, there is a small additional fee to stay a little bit later on Friday, especially like if you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. But really everybody is welcome. We've got 2 summits, depth and complexity. So Jay Taylor's coming in and they're going to run us through. We saw the agenda, the draft agenda last week, and it's going to be so hands-on and so awesome. Hopefully, you guys will leave with skills to be able to even translate those things to your teachers, but it's open to everybody. And then the acceleration summit, kind of part 2. So if you remember, like way back in 2019, we started this. It feels like a decade ago, but really not even 2 years. And so we just wanted to dive deeper into this acceleration piece because it was really popular for the folks who were able to attend that back in San Antonio. So those are 2 little add-ons you can do. They include lunch, and that will be super fun. Last thing is that the hotel, if you are outside of the DFW area, the hotel reservation deadline is on the 8th of November. So you got about a month to book your hotels. But if you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, that's great because you won't necessarily need one. I see lots of chats. And cool. So if you have any questions, yes, I will put my email in the chat. And please reach out if you have any questions, if there's anything that you need help with. If you have a group of 15 and you're like, oh my gosh, please don't make me or my secretary register all of these people individually, just reach out to me or to membership at txgifted.org. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm messaging Monica privately. And she can get you an Excel sheet, so we can get you guys registered through this Excel document. If it's too much to kind of register people one by one, but that's pretty much all I have. Just want another plug for Tempo Plus. I think most of you have heard me talk about Tempo Plus, tempo.txgifted.org. And that's our online peer-reviewed research-based resource hub. And we are really, really proud of that. It launched about a year and a couple months ago. And it's incredible. The amount of content that we've been able to post over the last 20 months has been really amazing. And a lot of that has come from folks in this group. So thank you for that. We also have district subscriptions to that, where you can actually get your entire district, every single person into that system and have access to those resources for a relatively very small fee. 5,000, I think, is the unlimited fee. We are working with several people on this call to put together some kind of 6-hour update templates. So if it's something that you're interested in, I know that PD, especially over the summer, is huge. We're looking at creating, or we have created and will launch very soon, 6-hour packages. So we might say, here's 3 videos to watch and 2 articles, and then some reflection questions that can happen. Kind of a self-paced, it won't be an LMS, we won't be tracking any of that, but it would be another way for you to kind of get some folks get their update on their own, outside of you having to do it or putting together your own LMS. So we're really excited about that. And if you haven't checked it out, please do. If you're a member, you can log in, just you log into our website to register or any other event. And get kind of searching around there for things that would be helpful. One more thing, we have what we're calling a gift ed preview. If you remember, our sneak peek last year, we had quite a few and we were going to be all online. Stephen Smith, who is with NASA, is going to join us on Thursday, October 14th at 4:30 to talk about using NASA missions and resources to teach GT students. They are launching this fall some really cool curriculum that can be used, and Stephen Smith was involved in it. If you've been to our conferences, I think he's joined us for the last 3 or 4 years. He's awesome and always comes to things with kind of an advanced learner in mind. And so these will be really great tools that are free coming out of NASA that he's going to help us learn about, and then he'll be at conference as well. So register for that. It's free for everyone, and you can pop that over to your teachers as well if that's something that you think that they would be interested in. And then I think that's all I have, but I appreciate the time, Monica. And like Monica said, and like I said, my email is in the chat, and I would love to connect with anyone on this call if you have any questions about TAGT and what we do on a daily basis in support of you all.
All right, thank you once again, Paulina. And she did include the sneak peek link in the chat. And so that couple other announcements. And so Lone Star Leadership Academy, you usually see it in the newsletter, but it came in after the newsletter. So this is an opportunity for students in grades 4 through 8 to participate in leadership camps. And so they're in Dallas, Fort Worth, Austin, San Antonio, and then there's Houston, Galveston. So you see the link there. You'll see the deadline is November the 5th. So really looking at that, those students have to have an 85 or higher grade point average, demonstrate leadership ability, and then involved in your school community activities. And so think about some students that you can nominate from your districts to do that. They do have a few scholarships also. So really think about this as an opportunity for some of your students to attend. And I will drop this link in the chat in a few minutes, in 1 second. For you, you want to gather some more info, learn a little bit more. All right. So are there any questions out there? Any further questions, any other wonderings? This is your opportunity to throw it in the chat for any of us. And so they will have a gifted ed t-shirts for pre-sale, so you can also show up with your spirit on. So check out the website, find the t-shirt. I still have my tagged t-shirt from a few years ago as my superpower t-shirt. And so really thinking about some of your opportunities there. If there are no further questions, wonderings, I want to understand. Hey, Siri. Siri is talking to me. Sorry. Also, hopefully you've had an opportunity to check out Equity in Gifted and Talented Education. The website, hopefully you are enjoying the new redesign, the relook, the new opportunities, the resource library that's highly extensive that is there. And then the multi-facing of one really geared towards helping our families understand about our gifted ed, and then how to support our special pops, and then that side for educators. As you go through and as you look at it, if there's something you say, this is the one missing link or the missing piece, let us know, and so that we can build this out to take it to the next level. Yeah, thank you, Kelsey. Yes, I think this was one of my love projects for 2 years now. They did a great job, the total new look, and trying to be fully more inclusive of all of our programs, all of our services, all of our special pops. As I said, we will be building out more pieces to this to really look at those special pops like one pagers, or just little flyers on how do you serve our LGBTQ community? How do you serve our homeless community? What are some of those special considerations for our foster students? So really looking at some of those other smaller components, adding in the military compact, so that this can be almost one of those one-stop shops kind of places where you can find some of that information. And as we go into the next level, and then our ultimate goal is I also have it was more engineered for educators, but it can work for everyone, is to really be able to look at your district numbers, look at your population numbers, and kind of get that formula right here off the website without having to do self calculations, but funding, but we'll get there. So that is one of our goals. So thank you, but take time to check it out. Let us know. As I put out a newsletter last month in September, probably put out another one in November, December. So if you are not getting the announcements, please sign up. This is the link, or you can go to our TA website, and right there under the share is to get updates. And that's where you can sign up for Gov Delivery. And I would recommend one for our gifted and talented, but also because a lot of you do a part of the work for advanced academics in that secondary side. They are building out, and they typically put out a newsletter once a month. So I would say sign up for advanced academics also. Once again, here is my contact information. If you need to reach me, I am there available for you. So I want to say thank you. Hopefully everyone has a great day, a great week, and then we will see each other in 2 weeks on, I don't even know what the date is, October 19th at 1 o'clock. Yeah, October 19th. I have to think about it for a minute. Yeah, October 19th, 1 o'clock. So thank you. Anyone who wants to share October 19th, let me know or sign up, and we will have a great opportunity to discuss gifted and talented education. So thank you. Have a great day and take care, everyone.